Hey guys, I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everyone is doing well. We're back because we have another topic of discussion. And we've got a couple things that came out last night. Hey guys, it's nice to see you. Nice to see you. If anybody doesn't know who I am, I'm Bullhorn Betty, and we're discussing Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. He's the 15-year-old autistic boy that disappeared from Hendersonville, Tennessee, and just recently had a vigil. Over 100 motorcycle enthusiasts, people on backs of motors. It was like a motorcade that went from Rutgers to the school where they had this beautiful vigil, prayer vigil for this boy. And it was really nice. But after, obviously it got a lot of local news out there. And the local news got an opportunity to speak with Seth, and I wanted you guys to hear it. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I have Reddit on here or not. I don't think I do. But on Reddit, there was a video that somebody had recorded. Let me see if I can do it this way. That somebody had recorded, and the Reddit was basically Seth saying that he's, showed a little bit of his frustration, if you will. A little bit of his frustration when it came to how he feels this case is progressing. I'm trying to dance around this. If you guys notice it, it is for a purpose. I am dancing around this topic of conversation because it's hard for me to express it into words. I don't want to be offensive to law enforcement or obviously people that have been watching this case. But in the same sense, we've got, he's not happy. It doesn't sound like, Seth is really happy with what's going on here. And so he's starting to express it a little more, in my opinion, because he's saying that he's had clothes in his car for over a month that they're not willing to take. I finally found it. Here it is.
Sebastian Rogers was last seen, and with a lack of new information, his father has mounting questions. News 2's Nikki McGee has more from Seth Rogers, calling for an overhaul in the investigation. It's a story you'll only see on News 2.
Well, as you can imagine, Seth Rogers is growing more and more concerned. 90 days into the search, he asked if the Sumner County Sheriff's Office is any closer to solving this case. If not, he says he would like a fresh set of eyes on it, requesting that the FBI take over the investigation. Now, currently, both the FBI and TBI are assisting. However, Seth would like to see the FBI lead the investigation. He cites concerns over communication and following up on tips. For example, he says those searching have found pieces of clothing that have been described as bagged and tagged for the investigators to look at, but over a month after letting them know, he says they still have not followed up.
I tell people when you see something, say something. And then they turn around and they tell me they see something and they never get a response. They call the sheriff's department. A lady called me. She got my number. She was like, I waited over 4 hours and nobody showed up.
And we brought a number of these concerns up with the sheriff's office.
I want you guys to hear this.
They did respond to each one. They tell us they looked at a pair of sweatpants Seth brought to them, which didn't turn out to be Sebastian's. Chief Deputy Eric Craddock says they are leaving no stone unturned. Now, we also asked him and the DA's office if they would consider letting the FBI take over. Craddock simply said he's been working closely with the FBI since day one, and the DA said he couldn't comment because this is an ongoing investigation. Mark.
So we learned that this is obviously an investigation. I would have to think 90 days in, we've already discussed criminal, whatever. They play word salad for whatever reason. They feel it has some bearing on their case. But this is going to take me over to our topic of conversation for this afternoon because, or this later morning, because this is what it says, and this comes from Jade, and this is on Where is Sebastian Rogers Facebook group. And this is what was stated. Seth said it himself today on national news. LE is lacking big time. That's the news that you guys just heard. What is it going to take for LE to step TF up We seriously got to do something besides sit back and watch them literally do nothing. They should do another grid search just to make sure they didn't overlook anything. They should let Jules search the property with them, LE, present, because it can't do anything but help. What will it hurt? They're letting rumors run rampant with no correction to any of it, and they can't at the least reassure the public they haven't given up. A statement every once in a while would be sufficient compared to what we're getting right now, which is silence. They're using Nick Barris to make it seem as if they can't speak for themselves. I mean, that's all at least they could do. That's all at least that they can do. I have never in my life seen a case like this, and I follow things like this daily. Another thing that bothers me is Chris' mom and dad were out on vacay. Again, like nothing ever happened to Sebastian, which makes me super suspicious, but at this point, nothing surprises me. And so, it's hard for the public because, like I said, I can see that people are getting antsy out here. I've been doing this for a while. I know that there is, craziness going on out here in the world. And, there is law enforcement has a hard task of balancing the public interest and the integrity of the case. And sometimes that is very hard to do. I think, and I've said this from the beginning, that if they don't have a good public relations, things can get out of hand, and they can get out of hand fairly quickly. I kind of believe that they've got to be fielding a lot of BS stuff right now. People still calling in, but now calling in with, just bunk stuff. And I have to think that has a lot to do with the fact that they're not keeping the public informed related to the case. That's the only thing I can equate it to. We have no idea. They're not talking. TBI's not updating their website. This is nothing like anything we've seen with Summer Wells, where we were communicated at least in writing on a TBI website or the local Hopkins County website, Facebook group. There was always something coming out about Summer Wells, keeping the audience, keeping the public informed and at bay. It wasn't that they on Summer Wells, they did a massive amount of press conferences at the beginning, and then it died down when they realized something wasn't right and she wasn't being found. I don't necessarily believe that, H, for some reason, because this has a different tone than something like that. This has a whole different, if you look at the whole environment, the past, the home climate, the history of both Chris, Katie, and Seth. If you look at all these things, the idea that he, was purchased, so to speak, it could happen. Yes, I don't want to dispute that, but it's lower on the totem pole because of the information that's widely available, factual information that's widely available. So what do we do in a situation when the family, like Seth, is just begging for answers? He just wants, law enforcement's not talking to even Seth. They're not giving Seth anything. They're being absolutely as nasty and as disrespectful as they can possibly be to a father of a missing child. They, when you have cases like this, the only way the family really does get updated in cases like this, because let's face it, this is a criminal investigation, whether they want to say it or not. I don't really give a rat's ass. It is. When you block parents out, when you're conducting yourself, I watch behaviors. They are absolutely conducting a criminal investigation. This is too tight-lipped to be a investigation into a missing person. Period. So, the only time when cases get elevated to criminal investigations. This is the bad part about it. The family only gets updated when the public gets updated. You understand? So it's not that we're out here just trying to be nosy when it comes to some of this. It's also to try to help provide answers for this family, because the only way they're going to get answers is for public pressure to force law enforcement to address the public. They're not addressing, people think that law enforcement is talking to these people. Even Katie and Chris, they're not getting information from law enforcement when they're calling. It's mostly, if they're calling, they're asking them questions. Most likely. Or giving them information to elicit a response from them. If Katie and Chris aren't physically calling down to law enforcement and law enforcement is calling them, there is a reason why law enforcement is calling them. Families do not get information until it is available to the public. Nothing has been available to the public, therefore nothing has been available to this family. So, again, what can we do? We don't even know. I mean, they're saying that this is not, we're saying it's a criminal investigation because I truly believe it is. I truly believe it is. So it's like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth too, right? Because I'm saying nothing's being done, but this is a criminal investigation. It's because they haven't told us they haven't told us anything. We're sitting here on the sidelines praying and hoping that what we're saying is true. And I can tell you, if the FBI takes over this investigation, nobody's getting squat. But at least we have the confidence to know that if the FBI takes it over, they are the go big or go home people, So I don't know. They said it, as long as the state attorney or the police ask them to take it over, they will consider taking it over. I was always under the impression the FBI doesn't get involved unless they can bring federal charges. That's what I've always been under the assumption of. But maybe because it's a kid, there might be something there, child laws, or, maybe something to do with the federal, Department of Children and Family might have something there where they can grab onto and take it over. But when I even said that, I said I'm not sure if there's some other law that they can grab on. But I've always been under the impression you can't really have, you can't have the FBI, the federal government, do the investigation without bringing the federal charges. So I don't know. I don't know how that I can't remember off the top of my head where that jurisdiction came from. Yes, FBI assist and only takes over trafficking, for example. Yeah, because it's over state lines. That would be, that really is the catalyst, from my understanding, with the FBI. If they can prove that he was taken over state lines, they can take the case all day long. But if they can't, and they can only prove that he still is in Tennessee somewhere, it would sound to me like the best it's going to get would be TBI. But again, we heard Seth say, so obviously he looked into this, because in that news clip he says, or somebody says, that they just need to get either and I think it was the news clip, that they either need to get the sheriff to request the FBI to take it over, or at the request of the state attorney. And the state attorney would not comment. And the sheriff commented that basically they're leaving no stone unturned. FBI has already been a part of the case and haven't found anything either. Not necessarily. So it's different when the FBI runs an investigation versus provides resources. For example, the FBI is providing resources. What does that mean? That means they may open up and expedite forensics. They may bring a field agent and send a field agent that has certain credentialing so they can have access to certain databases that they wouldn't have access to without having that FBI credentialed person for the database. So the FBI is, yes, but if you notice how they say that the FBI is a resource, that is what they are. They're a resource. They're not running this investigation. And at the beginning, I can guarantee they probably had some field agents on the ground. I bet you they don't have the field agents on the ground anymore. So yes, they've been a part of this case, but the FBI has only been a resource in this case. So you have to look at it that way. They're not running this case. They're not doing the investigative work. I mean, they are doing investigative type of work, but not the full investigation. And that's what Seth is trying to have them do. So there's the difference, and I understand that it gets a little confusing because we hear all these alphabet soups like Secret Service and all this other. The Secret Service resource may have been just that. We were thinking that they've got Secret Service groundmen there. They may not. They may have just given them access to a database that they would not have access to without the Secret Service credentialing. So, these are resources. Secret Service cyber help, exactly. So there are resources, but it doesn't mean that they're taking over the investigation or they're leading the investigation or they're making the investigative decisions. And that is what Seth's trying to have done. So, that I just want to make sure that hopefully I clarified that for you, for those that are a little confused about that. But no. So, what I was also thinking, and this is something, when I did my live this morning, we did a live early this morning. If you guys didn't catch it, you can go over to my YouTube page, my main YouTube page. I uploaded that just a little bit, about an hour or so ago. And while I was listening to that, because I premiered it, and so I was there with my audience when we were watching it, I didn't think about something that I missed, that I think we may have all missed. And I don't know why it popped into my head, but things pop into my head in different for different reasons. So remember the scratch marks that were on Chris's arm by day 8 when he had the interview. Everybody kind of went crazy over the scratch marks, the green shirt interview. Okay. What if he came home? He had no scratches on him because they didn't have everything going on. They may have been. We don't know. There may be other reasons for those patterns. Bear with me here. Just now, this is hypothetical. But you know that from my earlier live that I truly believe that there's something that has to do with this camper. And you guys believe that I personally believe that this camper either hid Sebastian or hid other incriminating evidence. And I also believe that that's the reason why Chris Proudfoot had to go back so early on when this child was missing to collect that camper, because he needed to find a gap of time to dispose of whatever it was that he needed to dispose of. What if he initially met with law enforcement and he had none of those visible scratches on him because he hadn't done any type of disposal work yet? And it wasn't until he returned that he had all those scratches, and why those scratches were still visible during 8 days later on the interview. I don't know why that thought came into my mind, but it just came into my mind before this live about those scratches, because it didn't seem like the scratches appear. You don't hear anything, or law enforcement even at the beginning kind of raising an eyebrow with Chris, and he's able to say, yeah, it was after I came home, the dog scratched me. So if it was after he came home, law enforcement would have seen him with pristine arms and maybe not have raised an eyebrow. But he disappeared for 17 hours. When were those scratch marks introduced to his body? Because we can assume that they may have been teeth mark, but we definitely know those at minimum are scratch marks. KP could have had an argument, allegedly. Yeah, I believe they probably did. I wore long sleeves to talk with Ellie in person. Yeah, he could have done that as well. And people out there on those construction sites, are even in summer, are known to wear long sleeve shirts because it does help, believe it or not. So it is possible. My dog never scratched me that rough. Neither have mine. And I my husband had 3 dogs. 2 of them were large dogs. One was a lab, one was a pit bull, and one was a miniature pinscher. So I even have a small dog, and I don't remember seeing those. And they've got smaller dogs than any of my dogs. So you're talking about tiny little paws, with tiny little nails that come out of them, And it just seemed like those were all kind of different directions, like bushes or woods. And yeah, they leave bruising. Bite marks would leave massive bruising, purple. If he bit him, we have to think about that. He had no purple bruising. If he was bit that hard to leave impressions, he would have bit hard enough to have there was no purple around it. There was no yellowing around it, because your yellowing means healing. Bushes, thorns, yep. So now we're having, we're looking at this case. We have a lot of questions about Katie. What happened that morning? She woke up. Did she go outside? Did she turn the lights on outside? When did she leave her house? When did she leave her house in conjunction with the telephone call to 911? Right? When did Chris get to work? 5:15. When did he get in his tower crane? I don't know. Some people say 7 a.m. What did he do there for an hour and 45 minutes? Was he nervous at work? Did people, obviously we have somebody that says he was visibly upset, right? Visibly upset. So, and he was kicked off the job, according to this one person, the same person that said 7 a.m., which was the same person that said he had a bad attitude, which is the same person that said he got kicked off around 10:30, 11 o'clock. I don't know if it's true, because I haven't personally spoke to that person. So that's why I can't say it's true. Now, the person that has personally spoke to that person, or is that person and was there, would know that they're 100% accurate and true. I don't. So I can only tell you the information I'm hearing out on the streets. The one thing that appears to be confirmed in all of this is that he did arrive at work at 5:15. So we know he was at his job at 5:15. What did he do from the time he got there to the time he got in the crane? I don't know. Does he get scratches at work? I don't know. Does he have access to other vehicles? I don't know. Does he have access to other phones? I don't know. Clearly, his camper wasn't on the St. Jude's campground, so we have no idea when he, where he went or what he did the night before. There's only the Yogi Bear campground. And from my understanding, there are cameras around there. So if there's cameras around that Yogi Bear campground, I have to be confident that he's imaged somewhere if he left the night before. And then, of course, we have the situation with Chris leaving for 17 hours for a 7-hour round trip that shouldn't have taken him more than, I can't imagine it taking more than 2 hours to pack up that particular camper. I seriously can't. I can't imagine it taking more than 2 hours to pack up a camper that size to get on the road. 3 hours at max. So you're talking 10 hours. What did he do for 7 hours if that's the case? Yours is smaller? Yeah, exactly. It doesn't take that long. been in all size. I've been in ones that drop, that have the, the RVs. I've been in the pull behind ones. It doesn't take that long. It just doesn't. Thank you, Missing. Oh, that's Munchie. Hey, Munchie. It's nice to see you, love. It's nice to see you. And I know people are talking about the grandma and stuff like that. Guys, I think they left so quickly after their grandson, I don't even want to call it, after Sebastian left, because I think that they were questioned once and they wanted to get out of Dodge. Because if Kathy did meet Katie somewhere to even pick up a piece of clothing or to take an article or something out of the house, she's an accessory now. So maybe they got out of Dodge just to give them a break so they can get their mind collected, maybe go see an attorney or talk to somebody or just give themselves a break. I highly doubt this was a work event. They may have turned it into a work event for an excuse to leave, but I highly doubt that this was a work event. Crap was going south. Mom knew what was going on. Obviously, they were most likely questioned, only being 22 minutes away from this home. They were probably questioned. Kathy was there. Probably Kathy came there, so they didn't go to her house. Did you ever think about that? Did they ever go to Kathy's house to search her property? We've never asked that question either. Sure, Carly, sure. Thank you for asking, by the way. So this is Sebastian Rogers. He's a 15-year-old autistic boy that went missing from his home in Hendersonville, Tennessee. So his mom basically told law enforcement that they had an active day the Sunday before he disappeared, and around 9 o'clock, she told him to go to bed, which he did. And then when he woke up, when she woke up at 6 a.m., he was nowhere to be found. There was no signs of forced entry. All the doors and windows were locked as they were the night before. He was simply vanished. Their story hasn't made sense and has changed, quite a bit. A couple things have stayed the same. 3 times have stayed the same from the beginning: 9, 12, and 6. 9 p.m. is when he went to bed. 12 a.m. is when Katie says she turned in for the night, and 6 a.m. is when she got up and found out her son was missing. Katie was the only person in the house at the time. Katie is this boy's mother. Also living in that house is his stepfather, Christopher Proudfoot. Christopher Proudfoot was away for work about 3.5 hours away in Memphis. He did not come home that weekend, according to the reports and according to everybody involved. However, there's been a lot of controversy with mom and stepdad. Stepdad, when they finally did come to the media to ask for help with their son, it was 8 days after he disappeared. Not day 1, not day 2, not day 3, not day 4, not day 5, not day 6, not day 7, day 8. And when he was on screen, he had scratches on his arms, deep abrasions on his arms. And he tried to say that the dogs had done it. So there's a lot of different issues. Now, Sebastian does have an active biological father in his life. His name is Seth Rogers. He had 50-50 custody of his son with Katie Proudfoot. And, he would get him every other weekend in the summers and other things like that. Chris had approached Seth to take Sebastian. After 15 years, Chris and Katie appeared to be having some marital problems in the family, and Christopher Proudfoot approached Seth to take Sebastian. Sebastian was actually scheduled to start going to live with his father full-time after the end of this school year. And before that happened, Sebastian disappeared. We don't know what happened. We don't know where he is. All I can say is his mom and stepfather's behavior is that of concern. There's no evidence that he ever walked out of the house. There's no sightings of him, and he has never been seen since around 9 p.m., physically seen around 9 p.m. on February 25th, 2024, when he was reported to have gone to bed. So that's where we are in this story. And of course, a lot of us that have that have done cases like this, we always look at the people in and around a person that's been missing or has, been met with foul play or is deceased. And so the last person to see this boy alive, or the last person that's seen this boy at all, was his mother. And she can't definitively say why he's missing. She says he had to have walked out the front door because there was no forced entry, and that's the only door he would have had a code to, and that door was locked when she woke up the next morning. So what happened? Did Chris and Kate, did something happen in the house and Katie call Chris? Because there was a 3-hour conversation from 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. between Chris and Katie. Was that normal and customary that they did every night because he worked so far away and didn't come home at night? We can speculate one way or another, but I can definitely tell you that there are a mixed bag of feelings related to that call, because there are people that are separated from their spouse that value those long calls with their spouse. So is this one of those things? I really truly don't know. I truly don't know. But I have to say that, we are having a problem getting answers from law enforcement. And if we're having problems getting law enforcement to answer some questions, that means the family's not getting any answers. And I hope that law enforcement really does just give us the facts of the case so the family knows the facts of the case. And I feel like that's where it's lacking. I'm praying to God that mainstream media starts picking up on this case and starts helping this family, because this family does need help. They need the financial resources that national media provides in cases like this in getting information out to the public. And I'm hopeful and I'm praying that we get more national media to pay attention. This case, people are very interested in. This boy has been missing for a significant amount of time, and we need everybody's hands on deck, including mainstream media. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that this starts getting more polarization from mainstream media and starts getting, putting their resources into helping this family find out more answers, because right now we're all sitting here feeling like this case is going to be another Summer Wells case, and law enforcement knows it and is hiding their head like ostriches in the sand for fear of having to tell us they ain't got squat. And I don't know if that's true. Doing everything you can and turning over every stone is one thing, but it doesn't mean you're producing the results that need to be produced. And that's where we're at. Are they producing results? I don't see how answering that simple question is going to the integrity of the investigation. Are we moving the needle forward or no? And if no, why are you so unwilling to relinquish this case to somebody that can help this case better? I think it's the question of everybody. All right, guys, that's all I have on this topic. Does anybody have any questions before I end? I searched for a runaway. It's hard to search for runaways, especially I don't feel like doing anything. I feel like they know already. They're not going to tell. Yeah, that could be another thing too, to be honest with you. Them knowing who they need and building the case. That might be what we're waiting on, and because of that they can't. Maybe they are truly shackled, with information right now that no matter what they do, they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. We're always there. No, I feel like that almost on the daily, right? Do I say this? Do I not say this? Do I say it this way? Do I not say that this way? And it's like, what? I'm damned if I do. I'm damned if I don't. Just say it the way it's going to pop out of your mouth, But it's different with us on here commentating on these cases. But in reality, these are real families. These are real cases. And these people, they have to take this to trial, How can the public help? Honestly, this is how I'm helping, right? Just talking about random topics just to put this boy behind me so he's still out in the front. I mean, what do you do? How can we help? I don't know. If you want my honest opinion, I really don't know how to help. They're still out searching, but there's no direction in searches. They're just lovely ladies out there just trying to clear areas, and God bless them. At least they're clearing areas. But it would be so much more helpful if we had more constructive searches. Identifying probable areas that are really good and would produce possible results. And of course the grid search, where you just have to just go from one end to the other and just any place and every place, just clear whatever you can. I get those type of searches as well. But I honestly don't know how to help. All I can say is pass this stuff around, try not to attack each other over our opinions. Let's keep it all above board, and let's just keep the ball moving and keep this boy out there and keep his face center stage. I mean, something's bound to break. Somebody's going to see something. Somebody's going to come forward. The nugget's going to fall. The golden goose is going to be had. I feel it. But I also felt it in the Summer Wells case too, that, it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time, And when law enforcement told us to take our foot off their neck, we did the 1 year milestone of Summer Wells, and I personally backed off of the case to give law enforcement the much needed space to do that case, and I feel like I screwed up by doing that. And it's kind of hard because here we have this case, and it's like, do we push harder or do we let up? And it's like our experience with Summer Wells is telling us to put our freaking foot on law enforcement's neck and step. Because I feel like we let up way too soon for Summer Wells, and here we are almost 3 years later, and we still have no answers. So even in our own path forward, I feel like we're damned if we do and damned if we don't. So I really don't. Yeah, we put pressure on the parents, but without forensics, they haven't even gone in the damn house for forensics. And if they have, they surely haven't told the public, and I don't see how that's going to really affect the case, because if you went in the house to do the forensic, obviously 2 people already know that it's been done. So I don't know. I feel I feel Seth's pain. I feel Seth's frustration, and it really upsets me because, Chris, on several different, like that web sleuth, there were several comments he made on that interview about how law enforcement's doing everything they can, and almost happy that they hadn't found him, almost happy that they hadn't found any information. Another one of those weird things, if you just go in there, he's not trying to sound it, but he is. And he's so happy with law enforcement's performance. Why? Because they're not producing shit. Meanwhile, the man that wants them to produce something is not happy with their work. Kind of funny how that happens. To me, it's telling. Is it evidence? It could be. Circumstantial? Perhaps. Why not? Why can't their behavior be used as evidence? Why? It's used as evidence as their past behavior is definitely used on the witness stand. I don't know. The best thing he is, CP Mom says the best comment, or CP's comment about the best thing is he managed to do without leaving any evidence. Yeah, and a kid that's autistic, being that, like, there was nothing. And I said this from the beginning, that I really believe the lack of evidence is the evidence. What 15-year-old, he can't even keep his room clean. How did he clean up after himself this good running away from home? Man, he must be the smartest kid in the whole flippin' world to know to leave all the electronics that could track him at home, to leave in total black clothing, to leave barefoot, but don't leave any skin cells or scent cells behind. Man, that's pretty impressive. I don't even know if Einstein could have pulled that off, but hey, I mean, we're dealing with Chris Pratt. Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, Sebastian Rogers here. You know? So that's just I don't know. I've got a lot of stuff going through this, but every time I get something that gives me something that makes me question it or want to say something, I'll be back live. This is just another little truth bomb, a little, thought-provoking session, about these things and why these things could happen. Maybe it'll spark something. Maybe it'll, shake the tree and see what nuts fall out or what golden nugget may fall out and burst this case wide open. What can we do? We can pass this boy's face around and share it and share a story. That's what we can do right now. Will that change? I hope so. I hope we can have a party when we bring him home. But I got to tell you, this is sickening my stomach. It really is. Like, what do we do? I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what the right answer is here. Have to think about it. Have to pray on it. You know what? Guys, maybe that needs to be the question now. bullhornbetty@gmail.com. Maybe send me an email of what do you guys think is the best path forward? What do we do? What is the best way to advocate for this young boy? What is the best, what can we do to help find him? You guys might think outside of the box. I'm one person. I got one brain that was taught, and I had a pretty, crazy life. I don't know if you want me to make all the decisions here. I'm just saying, I need help. Ask Katie, yeah. Yeah. But she's going to give us the same answer. 9, now we got new 10 added in there, so we've got 9, 10, 12, and 6. I know what she's going to tell me. I know what she's going to tell me. I want to know what's between those times. Right? What happened before 9? What happened between 9 and 10? What happened between 10 and 12? What happened between 12 and 6? I was thinking about that, because I'm trying to think that I think this one would be more suited at, honestly, Sumner County Sheriff's Department. Because it's not to TBI, so TBI really has it. You know who it is? It's the Sheriff's Department and the District Attorney. Those are the two people that need to absolutely be we need to be the boil on their ass right now. Those are the two people we need to be the boil on the butts of them. So if you guys want to go aggravate them, if you guys want to go, do signs, maybe don't do it on the weekends. They're out at work. So we need a bunch of beautiful people out in Sumner County getting together during the week with some bullhorns. Get out there and have these signs. That's, if you want to know what maybe that's what you guys need to do out there. I don't know. I'm stuck. I'm hopefully we'll hear something today. I feel like a broken record. I'm done talking about my car until I get back. But I'm stuck. If I was unstuck, maybe we would do like a sign waving. Talk about Sebastian. Talk about who he is. Maybe law enforcement needs to know who he is. Maybe we need to bring their emotional side out in them. Maybe we need to talk about his first steps, his first words. Maybe we need to strike a chord in the emotional string of law enforcement. Maybe we need to make them look at him like they look at their own children. I don't know. I don't know what would work. I really don't. All I know is I would be highly upset, honestly, if this goes cold and law enforcement ghosted the public. There is not more of a slap in the face than that. To the whole community. To the whole community. And as a matter of fact, while we're on the subject, I'm going to close out with this. There is a video dropping on Bullhorn Betty TikTok main channel today at noon, kind of covering the topic about law enforcement and why are they not talking or at least informing the public about a worldwide case. I don't know. If you guys see this on YouTube, don't forget to like and share, but more importantly, leave me your comment, answer my questions. I'd like to know what you guys are saying. This helps me develop our topics of conversations and honing in on certain topics and certain information. It's all because of your commentary. It's all of your comments back to me. When I see a problem or I see somebody has a question, a consistent question, I'll do the research and find it out. So if I don't know, we can theorize, but don't worry. I'll make sure you know that it's just my theory. God bless you. God bless you guys. I will be back. It is 11 now. I got to say I'll be back by 3. By 3, and maybe we'll do one, I don't know, 6. I don't know. We'll see. We'll play it by ear. God bless. See you soon.